Zay Flowers, Zay Flowers. Lamar Jackson is officially out of excuses. Like done. Dunzo 2-5, Dunzo Joy Taylor, Dunzo Dave Helman. All of the excuses for Lamar Jackson, they're finito. They're finished. Think about this, y'all. They said Lamar Jackson's OC, the OC that helped Lamar Jackson become a unanimous MVP, they said that he was holding Lamar back. So what did they do? They got rid of the OC, and they brought in Todd Monken. Old OC, you gone. Todd Monken, you in. What else did people say? Well, they need to get Lamar Jackson some help at the wide receiver position. They not just with draft picks, get him a proven vet. So they paid Odell Beckham probably 3x his value, $15 million worth up to $18 million because people said Lamar Jackson needs a proven vet. Okay, they did that. What else did they do? Well, Lamar Jackson, he needs more receiver help. Odell's not necessarily proven. You go get Zay Flowers, a burner, 4.42 in the 40 out of Boston College, a elite speed wide receiver. Now you got Zay Flowers there, plus Rashad Bateman, plus Odell Beckham, plus Nelson Aguilar, plus Mark Andrews, plus J.K. Dobbins in the backfield. Lamar Jackson, in my mind, has been given more than any quarterback has been given since I can remember. You could suggest Jalen Hurts was given just as much as Lamar Jackson, but what did Jalen Hurts give the Eagles in return? He took him to a Super Bowl. Like, you could make the suggestion that Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert, you could make that suggestion, and I would agree with it. But Jalen Hurts helped the Eagles get to a Super Bowl in return. So for me, Dave, for my money, Lamar Jackson is out of any possible excuse.
Did you hear the intake of breath coming from Joy when you were saying all that stuff? This is going to be fun.
You were smiling too, though. You were smiling.
It's funny. Look, yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah, I mean, if you want the answer to the question, yes. And I love the way this worked out, by the way. Like, you know, things don't usually go according to script like this. Like, the Packers never draft that receiver that we're always trying to give them. The Ravens were like, what's going to make you happy, Lamar? Okay, Odell's here. You got your deal? Oh, you want a first-round receiver? Are we good here? Are we good? You don't want to be traded anymore? You're happy? We got all that stuff? Yeah, I mean, the Ravens have held up their end of the bargain. Lamar Jackson is now the highest-paid quarterback in the league. He's got a first-round receiver to go with one of the best receivers of the last decade. I know, you know, this Odell's not that Odell, but he's still here.
Still Odell.
The defense is nice. I mean, when you taking just away from the offense, you know, they traded for Roquan Smith. Like, there's talent on this team.
Yeah.
I can't think of a reason, as long as Ronnie Stanley stays healthy, why this team should be held back. The funny thing for me is how many quarterbacks in the AFC are we saying this about now? Because I got a list. Okay, so if there's no excuse for Lamar, we're saying there's not any excuses. There's not any excuses for Aaron Rodgers.
Nope.
Definitely not any excuses for Deshaun, a fully guaranteed Watson. And oh, don't forget about Russell Wilson, who bombed spectacularly with a supposed turnkey opportunity, according to a lot of people. He's got to bounce back. And I'll throw Josh Allen in as well, just because the Bills have been favorites for a couple years. I mean, that's a whole playoff field right there. Somebody's got to lose.
But wouldn't you say, of all those quarterbacks you named, I don't know where you stand, but Lamar Jackson is for sure the youngest. That's inarguable. But wouldn't you suggest that he also is just as talented, if not more? Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, you could put him under Josh Allen. But wouldn't you say, like, for talent, he's as talented, if not more?
Yeah, he's a unanimous MVP. I mean, the pressure's been on since the time he got drafted, and it's only going to amplify with the contract. My point is, I mean, just something's got to give in this AFC. I don't know what to make of it. So, yeah, I mean, if you don't want to make excuses for him, that's fine. But somebody that's in a hell of a situation is going to fall short this year. I'm just telling you right now that that's going to happen.
Joy Taylor's Lamar out of excuses.
Excuses for what?
Excuses for not winning multiple playoff games, I guess you would have to say.
That's all
He's only ever won one.
He's got to win multiple playoff games.
I think he has to probably go to the AFC Championship, but it's saying the same thing, that you got to win multiple playoff games unless you get the bye.
Okay. Again, I always just like to know what the parameters are. Like, are we saying, because we're saying, like, Aaron Rodgers, if Aaron Rodgers just gets to the playoffs, it's a wonderful success. So I want to know what the measurement is for success, because you also left off Joe Burrow.
I did.
You also left off Justin Herbert.
Oh, I forgot Herbie. Yeah, put him on there.
Matthew Stafford went to a pretty nice situation. Jalen Hurts, obviously. Dak Prescott. I mean,
well, I was thinking AFC. I was thinking AFC.
A lot. Okay. I mean, Matthew Stafford's not in the AFC. Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks who are in a great situations that don't make it to or win the Super Bowl because, Shady, it's hard to do that.
Hard to do.
Right? But from my perspective, Lamar Jackson really hasn't had that many excuses made for him. Lamar's always been held to this very extreme standard because he is such an electric player. I mean, coming into the league after winning a Heisman, there were people saying he wasn't good enough to play the position. He just had to go through a lockdown, drag-out fight with his team that drafted him just to get paid. So I don't really see that he's had that many excuses. He's always been held to this extreme standard, even within his division. He's in a very difficult division. You've got Mike Tomlin, who doesn't lose, Deshaun Watson, Joe Burrow. Like, what is excuses? To me, I think that I agree. Lamar Jackson does need to have more success in the postseason.
Yeah.
Based off of, and the money I don't care about, because if you're a franchise quarterback, you're going to get paid. So I don't care about how much money he's making. Deshaun Watson is a different situation because he's got a fully guaranteed deal. So that's separate. But everyone else, you paid what you're paid. That doesn't matter to me. But I do think he needs to have more success in the postseason. But I can't jump to it's got to happen right away because look at what he's been having. He's been the whole reason the Ravens win.
Here's why I will jump there, 2-5. I want to jump there for this reason. I loved Greg Roman. I love Greg Roman. Why? Because Greg Roman, at least as a linebacker, things are complicated. So I respect you. If you can make my life complicated, you have my respect. I also love Greg Roman because I saw what Greg Roman helped Lamar Jackson do, become a unanimous MVP. I saw what Greg Roman helped Colin Kaepernick do, go to a Super Bowl. I saw what Greg Roman has helped so many players do, Alex Smith, give him some competency when people thought he was a bust. But everybody said 2-5, and I don't know where you stood, Greg Roman's holding Lamar back. They got a new OC.
I said that, and I was one of them guys. I played with Greg Roman, actually, in Buffalo. And I think he's an excellent coordinator for athletic quarterbacks and struggling quarterbacks,
Fair.
to be honest. I mean, you talked about Kaepernick. Kaepernick was struggling.
Yep, and athletic.
Okay, you got Alex Smith.
He was
struggling.
And athletic.
Right, and then Lamar, so when Lamar kind of had him, it was like, all right, well, he holds you back.
Yep.
You can't really fulfill how good you really are and hit your ceiling when you have Greg Roman. I love him to death. He runs the ball a lot, so I like him a lot. I just think that when I look at the Ravens now and their core guys, you talked about excuses, right? I never gave Lamar Jackson an excuse because he's the type of guy, he don't want no excuse. But when you look at his team, right, and the wide receiver core is, they got him some rookies who was up and down hurt. Rashad Bateman hurt. Really good, but he's injured.
Yes, sir.
You get him Odell Beckham. I think Odell is a hell of a player. I got to see which Odell we're getting. He has some injuries, surgeries. That matters. And he got a jail, a new offensive coordinator, so all them things matter. And you got a rookie wide receiver,
Come on,
right?
2-5. I'm hearing excuses, though, bro.
You know, it's football, right? See, we get up here and we talk about it. We got to talk about the whole thing. It's football. Oh, everything has to jail. Now, I think in this contract time span from 5 years with all that money, I do want to see some more results. It might not be this year. It might be next year. It might be year after that. But in that 5 years, we need Lamar Jackson to get to an AFC Championship game and potentially be in a Super Bowl.
Here's my thought, though, Shady. It's like the Ravens have quite literally given Lamar truly, to me, more than any other QB has been given. Like
this year, or you mean?
I would say over the last two.
Wow.
I'll give you objective data.
Come on, let's hear it.
The first objective data I'll give you is this. And since Lamar Jackson was drafted, the Ravens have spent more on skill positions in the first 3 rounds than any other team in football. So just objectively, Hollywood Brown, first-round pick, they ended up trading him away. Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, first-round pick. Zay Flowers, wide receiver, first-round pick. The only other team you could suggest is the Eagles. Jalen Reagor, first-round pick, they sent him. Devontae Smith, first-round pick, and they used a first-round pick on A.J. Brown. So the only other team you could suggest gave as much wide receiver help as that.
And then they drafted a Heisman winner.
But let me keep going.
Okay.
Mark Andrews. All-Pro, you know that's incredibly hard to do.
He's a very good player.
George Kittle and you got Travis Kelce. It's hard to be an All-Pro at tight end, hard to do. Then they replaced their offensive coordinator who had been strong for them. At a minimum, Greg Roman hasn't been a weak link on that team. So when I'm thinking about it, and think about all the quarterbacks you want to think about, Dak Prescott, as much as we knock on him, it ain't like they gave him that much help. So when you really start thinking about all these other quarterbacks, I'm just like, who else has gotten as much?
But they haven't been available, though, either.
Who up until this point, like if you put, let's just go down the teams. Joe Burrow, you would take the skill positions that Joe Burrow has or Lamar Jackson has?
Joe Burrow, I think that's the best in the league.
Okay, Justin Herbert, obviously.
Whoa. What?
Not now.
Hold on.
Not even
with his weapons?
Not even with the new kid on the block?
Justin Herbert's weapons last year.
Come on, man.
I'm saying now that you have Odell Beckham, now that you have Zay, now that you have Rashad, now that Nelson's your fourth.
Look,
Mark
hold on. You said over the last 2 years.
Yes.
Okay, over the last 2 years and currently standing right now, because you don't know, and we hope that Zay is great, but you don't know that.
Fair.
I'm not knocking the Ravens for trying.
That's what you're supposed to do.
That's what you're supposed to. That's literally your job. That's not Lamar Jackson's job.
But here's my thing, though. The Ravens are not just trying; they are trying more than anybody else.
As they should, because they've been bad.
But what about the results, though?
Yeah, what about that part?
They've been hurt. Bateman's been hurt. J.K. Dobbin's been hurt. So all these guys you bring there, they getting hurt. They're not even playing. Does that matter? Or
It does matter. But now that now that you have brought me, I'll put it like this. Everything Lamar Jackson could have asked for, the Ravens have done.
I will go with you there.
I'm not saying he should have excuses. I'm just saying up until this point, if you wanted to make excuses, which Lamar doesn't need made for him, you could.
It's just a lot of hard work
So
to
wait,
do.
where would you rank his? Because like I'm not feeling what you're saying because you was like going back and forth with the Chargers' offensive weapons. So I want to hear it from you. Where do you put this offensive
Right
skill
now,
set?
all skill set, I would say they have a top 13 skill position group. When you look at J.K. plus Andrews plus Odell plus Rashad plus Zay plus...
That's like the middle of the league.
It is, but when you have an elite quarterback, that's where you should be.
I think that's stretching too, though. If we really sit down here and we had enough time and go over all the divisions, I don't think they'd be top 13.
The Ravens are in a good spot right now, but that's how bad it was.
But here's my thought process.
They're okay. They're not top tier.
Here's my thought process. Outside of the Bengals, let's look at the AFC. The Jags were in the playoffs. I think the Ravens' skill position group is now better than the Jags.
Okay.
The Bills were in the playoffs. Outside of Stephon Diggs and playoff Gabriel Davis, I think you could say that it is comparable.
Solid tight end.
Mark Andrews is better than Knox, though. So I'm saying, I think it's comparable.
Stephon Diggs is one of the best receivers in the league.
No doubt about
so
it.
he has to go higher than that. He makes that receiving.
You know you're
core
taking
better.
Miami
I mean, he's
over.
top
But
three.
I'm saying that it is comparable.
No, because Stephon Diggs is one of the top receivers in the league.
And Mark Andrews is one of the top tight ends in the league.
No.
Nah,
Stephon
it's
Diggs
different
is a
wide receiver. It's different wide receiver. You know that.
I think
give him that. He's not taking Miami. He's not taking Baltimore over Miami.
Yo, your boys. Who? The Cowboys?
The Cowboys are better than the Ravens.
Yeah.
No, I'll take
What's
the
your face?
Cowboys.
Why you fix your face? Fix your
take the
face.
Cowboys.
Aaron Rodgers?
Eagles?
Aaron Rodgers?
Then I personally
The
just
Jets?
think higher than. It just sounds like a whole bunch of excuses.
You know what? Where's the?
I still hear nothing but
I don't know.
excuses.
It's not.
If you look at the production, if you look at the production of the players you're talking about, it will be no question that they'll be at the bottom of the league. Production-wise, right? When you look at skill positions, you look at the players, and you look at production. If we go to the production, you're going to say Rashad Bateman, he was solid, but he has no production.
Of course, he was hurt
Odell
hurt all
Beckham,
last year.
no
He was hurt.
production.
Correct.
This Zay Flowers, no production.
Rookie, of course.
So you only person I always do that. J.K. Dobbins, no production.
Let me ask you this.
Go
ahead.
And the last one is Andrews. Mark Andrews.
Yes, sir.
He's the only one with some production.
Yes, sir.
That's what matters.
But can I ask you this? Doesn't a quarterback have an integral part of a wide receiver's production? So at the point in which you're looking at all the Ravens historically and saying, well, they don't have any production, don't you also have to say Greg Roman was a reason they didn't have production?
Time out. Injuries.
Okay.
Injuries. You can't even, how can you get stashed if you can't play? Joey, how you gonna catch the ball if you're not out there? You hurt.
I don't know. Maybe if it comes to the sideline, you could get it while you're in there.
That matters.
It does.
Look at his face.
I'm not trying to make excuses.
Believe your boy.
I'm just pushing back on the idea that Lamar Jackson has more than any other.
I never say he had more than
He's tough on Lamar, yo.
Well, here's my thing. Here's why. Because I've never seen teams give as much to their quarterback.
As they should, because that's their job, and it's not hands out.
Philly
you don't get
Jalen
credit.
everything.
You can get credit for trying, but if you're not good at what you're trying to do, why am I supposed to praise you more than people that are also trying but are succeeding?
Because eventually, what else does Lamar Jackson want? That's what I want to know. What else could Lamar Jackson
Healthy
get?
help. Healthy help.
Fair. What else?
Right.
Heading into this season, there's
What else?
nothing else he could want.
That's literally my only thing. Like,
Okay.
Like, if you're Patrick Mahomes, you could say, hey, you know what? I would like another dog at wide receiver.
Patrick Mahomes liked Zay
If you're,
Flowers,
if you're,
whatever that's.
if you're Josh Allen, you could say, hey, you know what? Outside of Stephon Diggs, I could really use somebody. If you're Trevor Lawrence, you could be like, you really just gonna send me out? Like, these guys could really ask for something.
I'm not against him not having excuses. I don't think there should be any excuses at this point. But to Dave's point, there's a long list of guys with no excuses, if that's what the standard for excuses is.
Patrick Mahomes is like the only guy I'll make excuses for.
And he has injury. And Kelsey. But real quick, if you look at all these quarterbacks before they had a number one receiver, a top 5 receiver, they was just okay. Not okay. I don't want to say okay, but they weren't on that level. Josh Allen, I thought he was phenomenal as a player, but he didn't jump up to what he got to do like Stephon Diggs. Tua, we was talking. I mean, especially me. I don't know because people won't say it. I'm gonna say it. I don't know if Tua could play. You get him Tyreek Hill, you get him Waddle. Oh, yeah, now he one of the top. That matters.
How much of a quarterback's responsibility is it to help develop a number wide receiver?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
How much of the responsibility is on the quarterback to develop a number one wide receiver? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Stephon Diggs had 1,000-yard receiving season before going to Buffalo. As good as A.J. Brown was, A.J. Brown in Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill was not A.J. Brown with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Man, it's
so how much? I don't know why we done it.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
What did Buffalo give up to get Stephon Diggs?
First.
What did Philadelphia give up to get A.J. Brown?
First, yeah.
So Philly knew A.J. was like that, and Buffalo knew Stephon Diggs was like that. So they could see that it wasn't Kirk Cousins and it wasn't Ryan Tannehill. It was that they are some dogs, and we should use a number one pick on this receiver and get them with our
good
guys.
point. Yeah.
So we know what a number one receiver is.
I hope one of these first-round picks for the Baltimore Ravens turn into number one receivers. If you draft 3 first-round picks and they don't turn into number one receivers,
I mean, maybe the
I'm not
Ravens
looking
aren't good at drafting skill positions. That's a possibility also.
That's one person to look at.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.